Okay, where do I start? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. I hope everyone had a great 2022. I hope your 2022 was better than your 2021. And I hope your 2023 exceeds all years that you've existed. Hope your 2023 is full of blessings and just good times. What's up, y'all? It's your boy DeviDubz, and we are back with another video. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm doing my best albums of 2022. There are 10 albums that stood out to me this year, and they're here on this list, and we're gonna get into it soon. I know my voice sounds different. I was sick. TMI, I was vomiting. And on the very last final vomit, like the big boss vomit, nothing was coming up. You know, when you're dry heaving, it just feel like your throat is being ripped to shreds. Like somebody literally inserted their fingers like this and said, and that's what happened to my throat and my voice. I can't even sing for y'all and blow down and give y'all vocals. I can't see, I'm blind, blind, blind. But trust, I will be back in full form soon. Before we get into the ranking, I do want to say that some of these will be shocking to y'all because there's not really a rhyme or reason why the albums are placed where they are. Album A may be placed higher than album B simply because production is better, but then album C may be placed higher than album A because even though the production is not better, the lyrical content is better. But then album E may be placed higher than album C simply because I like the way the songs transition. There's not really a specific criteria to these rankings. I also want to say that EPs are mixed into this ranking. I thought it would be weird to not include them in this video and then exclude them altogether. Like, that didn't feel right to me because there are some good EPs that I did listen to, and I think they hang in with the big dogs. They hang in with the grown-ups, the albums. Last but not least, I have another video coming. It's going to be the best songs of 2022. If you're excited for that video, make sure you click that notification bell, follow me on my social medias, do all that good stuff. Here we go with the best albums of 2022. Swoosh. So before we get into the top 10, there are a few projects that I want to put in my honorable mentions list that didn't make the top 10, but I still want to acknowledge them. Those albums are Super Ache by Conan Gray, Special by Lizzo, and then Sad Songs in a Hotel Room by Joshua Bassett. These albums are all really good, but they weren't good enough to be in my top 10. I didn't feel like they deserved to kick any of the top 10 contenders out. Coming in at number 10, we have Traumazine by Megan Thee Stallion. This is a great album for her because of her versatility. I feel like she was very much more experimental than she's ever been. She had a lot of R&B, sensual, slowed down moments, got into her pop bag again. She gave you arguably one of the biggest tracks on the album, a house track, Her. And even though this song was released as a single and performed at Coachella, I still can't help but think that it's criminally underrated. Plan B, the way that she slides on that cool, breezy 90s track is so underrated. It packed a punch. Everything about that song really packed a punch while it remained like real cool, if that makes sense. And even more so, I just feel like her lyricism and the way that she always slides in her verses, it's a feat for her. Like, it's something that she always excels at. I'm the motherfucking pimp that will pay a bitch rent to trick daddies only y'all care about nan. Nigga Perky's, this bitches is popping, this potent, the shit they be tweeting, they gotta be smoking. Like, she slid on Ungrateful, featuring Key Glock. When it comes to lyricism, Megan Thee Stallion will never fail. We're gonna keep it really light and fun, but let's just say that Megan Thee Stallion has been winning lately and she deserves everything in the world, okay? And that's all I'm gonna leave it at. Coming in at number 9, we have The Lead by Flo. Now, this is one of the EPs that I mentioned. It's not an album, but it very much is such a great project that it deserves to be on this list. It's just refreshing seeing a girl group so cohesive come into the scene, showcase their talent, and showcase their vocals as well as possible. Classic 90s ballads, 90s R&B. They're putting such a twist on it to where it's kind of becoming their sound. I know that's too much to say because they ain't even given us a debut album yet, and that's a lot to say. But like, if they keep this up, they will set trends and they will be a blueprint for causing more artists to jump back into this genre, but give it a fresh new twist. Renee, Stella, and Georgia, you will always be famous. And I know that this is not album related, but when you talk about these girls, you can't talk about their music without talking about their live performances. Like, the live performances is really where it's at. Like, it's really where they turned it up 100. When I think of them, I think of vocal chemistry, how tight their vocals are. Like, Renee is the perfect foundation. She gonna always get you with those low notes. Georgia, who I might consider to be the most versatile out of all three girls, can take you down there or it can take you up high. She can be very, like, sturdy and hefty with her vocals, but also give you very light moments at the same time. And then you have Stella. Her vocal style is very like fast. Like when you listen to her, she's light and she gives you agility with the runs and riffs. I've said this before, but she actually reminds me of a very early, young 2000s Destiny's Child Beyonce. Her mannerisms with performing, but even like her vocal ability, like she's kind of extra in the best way possible. And I love that for them. Float, yeah, I'm so excited to see where their journey is gonna go. Coming in at number 8, we have Dawn FM by The Weeknd. I did not talk about this album a lot on social media. This isn't an album that I thought about a lot in general, but it's one of those albums where when you hear one song, it pulls you back in and you're kind of trapped. He creates this entire soundscape of 80s synth and like disco funky moments with drones and synthiness. You have these weird monologues from Jim Carrey, which adds to the confusion and adds to like the world building. To be honest, it's not better than After Hours, but I do think it's like a part 2, and it's kind of like the mature version of that. The album cover of him looking like an old grandpa kind of matches that. It is more mature and it is more grown and kind of serious thematically, and even like melodically it's more mature. I can't talk about this album without mentioning Less Than Zero. That song is so ethereal. It literally, it feels like you're being... What is it called? When the aliens come in and do this to you? That's what happens to me when I levitate. He created one of the best songs ever with Less Than Zero. It just has to be said. At number 7, we have Holy Fuck by Demi Lovato. Demi gave us one of the best albums of the year, and I love that she did it all while going back to her rock roots. This is where she started, and she sounds better than ever. I have to say, this is the best album that she's ever created. This is the most sonically, thematically cohesive album that she's ever created. When she released Dancing with the Devil, The Art of Starting Over, that was her best album. And then a year later, she tops herself again. She goes from like pop to pop rock to this alternative sound to very like hard electric rock. She gives you these high intense moments, like for example the ending of Substance, Wasted, Dead Friends. I could go on and on about the vocal moments throughout this album. She gives you old Demi but with a mature twist to it. Also, I've just been rambling and I didn't even really think about it. Demi Lovato, their pronouns are they/she. So if I've been referring to them as her the entire time, I apologize. I'm gonna try to use both of their pronouns. That's what I try to do in most of my videos. But the kicker is they don't only sound incredible in the studio, but they can take that shit from the studio, go out on a stage and have a microphone and sing that shit. She sings it. My voice is cracking. See, because it's gone. It's so annoying. They sing the same exact way. The way that they have vocal moments on this album, they can literally get on the stage and sing it the same way. That's not easy to do. It's not easy like that, like, yeah, absolutely. Last thing before we move on, I really appreciate how on these past 2 albums, she's been able to be really open and vulnerable with us about the things that she's going through. Dead Friends, where they're talking about the consequences of doing the things that they did, and now they have survivor's guilt because their friends did the same thing and they did not survive. Moments like that where they're sharing the lowest of lows, but then you have Come Together and Forever For Me, where you see that things do work out in the end. They find people who accept them and love them for who they are. Here at number 6, we have What I Didn't Tell You by Coco Jones. Coco Jones is quite literally so slept on, and I cannot wait for her to have her moment, her big blow up moment. And it's slowly coming because she's finally getting put on these bigger stages. This EP, one of the only other EPs on here, quite literally is some of the best R&B music that we got this entire year. She's able to give you these deep, soulful moments like in Caliber, the way that her voice is just so breezy, and even ICU, where she gives you angelic moments. And then she can flip it and give you these kind of like upbeat trap type of vibes like No Chaser. Are you kidding me? Being able to showcase her vocal ability while still having fun on songs like Caliber, Spend It, No Chaser, Headline. She's talking about killing you, and she's giving you vocals at the same time. Like, she's having a good time, and that's all I can ask for, especially in R&B music. I know a lot of R&B artists are starting to give you this spin on R&B music, but for a while it was very slow, kind of sad, ballady R&B. And I'm not trying to knock anybody hustle because people will excel where they excel, but it's nice for black women artists to kind of change the game on R&B. Alright, now we're getting down to the real, the nitty gritty. It ain't playtime no more. Don't play with it, don't play with it. Here we go with the top 5 albums of 2022. Clocking in at number 5, we have Midnights by Taylor Swift. I think one of the most impressive things that Taylor did with this album was create a homogeneous mixture. Like, she created a hodgepodge, a whole pool of songs, and you can hear her previous bodies of work reflecting those songs. For example, Vigilante shit is very much Reputation. Maroon gives me a combination of Lover and Folklore. But then you have songs like Anti-Hero, which give Lover and 1989. It's like each song is a child from one of her previous sounds that she did in a previous album. And I love listening through the album and trying to figure out, okay, well, this song sounds like this album, but what else could it sound like? One thing I discovered about this album, that she definitely played with the sounds and instrumentals, and she came up with these weird and unique moments throughout the album. To be honest, Midnights is the perfect title because some of these moments and these sounds are literally so unhinged and insane that it kind of mimics slap happy behavior. You know how like when it's late at night you get really tired and you just start saying and doing weird stupid things and it just doesn't really make sense? Taylor kind of took that energy and turned it into an album. We all remember where we were when we heard that was such a jolting, startling start to a song, Bejeweled, where it literally sounds like the game Bejeweled that my aunt used to play on her PC, where you gotta match the jewels and get 3 in a row, and then once you get 3 in a row they disappear. She definitely played with this album sonically and even lyrically. I remember during my album reaction, I was like, her lyricism is very weird on this album. This lyricism is not the same lyricism reflected in Folklore or Evermore, and it kind of took me a while to catch up to it and like lean into it. Like it was a little too cringy at first. Sometimes I feel like everybody is a sexy baby and I'm the monster on the hill. But now I lean into it all the way. She did that on purpose because she's a genius when it comes to creating music. Like that's literally her job. Her using those moments, creating these lyrics, these instrumentals, these melodies, seems very intentional with the title and how like you experience things late at night. Also, I haven't really talked about the 3 a.m. tracks, but the 3 a.m. tracks are some of Taylor's best songs ever made. Not just on Midnights, but literally ever made. Bigger Than the Whole Sky, The Great War, and Don't Even Get Me, oh my god. When I think about this song, I tear up. Would've, Could've, Should've is one of Taylor Swift's best songs of all time. Enough said. Coming in at number 4, we have Harry's House by Harry Styles. Harry has a slight advantage. He's on this list and he's so high on this list, not only because he makes great music, but I also saw him at Coachella this year. So he's had an impact on me outside of just albums. I saw him in person. Great performer. And I think live performances are an extension to the body of work artists will release. So I do take that into account. And he deserves this number 4 spot. He gives you diversity vocally. I love how he plays around sonically. But most importantly, he knows how to have fun. This is such a fun album. Listen to this album and tell me that it's not fun and I'm gonna call you a liar. But while he's having fun, he still manages to give you shocking moments that you're not expecting. Who expected him to open this album with pop, flashy, jazzy vocal while scatting? And then he will give you these very soft moments like Keep Driving. And I think Keep Driving is one of those perfect songs where the song mimics driving. It starts out slow, and then as the song progresses, you feel like you're driving faster. Your heart is racing. I need you to go listen to that song so you can actually hear what I'm talking about. And he showcases his range a lot on this album, especially on songs like Daydreaming and Cinema. But then he'll give you moments like Little Freak and Boyfriend where he'll surprise you with how calmingly beautiful his vocals can be. I think that this is his best album vocally, sonically. Once again, he's doing all of this while having fun. I think that's the most important part. Like, this album was the soundtrack to my life at one point. Excellent album. We're about to get into the top 3 albums of the year. Before I say number 3, I need you guys to go ahead and like, subscribe, share with your friends, and do all that good stuff. Clocking in at number 3, we have SOS by Sizzler. Yes, the SZA. We waited 5 whole years for this album, and this album came out literally about a month or less than a month ago, and it's found its way into my top 3. This is one of the 3 albums that I would consider a 10 out of 10 album, and it would be at number 2. I struggle with this, actually. This and album number 2, because I kept going back and forth. I'm pretty sure you could argue in the comments why this album should be at number 2, and I would be okay with it and switch it to number 2. But just know that this album is neck and neck with album number 2. Anyway, SZA came back stronger than ever after 5 years. I think that's just a testament to how great of an artist she really is. The writing, the production, the vulnerability on these tracks stand her out from any other artist. I don't know an artist that writes in the way that she writes. She writes so in depth that it almost comes off as like, okay girl, you kind of oversharing a little bit. Songs like Special and then Notice Me, where she's being so vulnerable that she's basically giving off this energy of not being the #1 girl. And I love how she can get that honest and vulnerable and low with us, no pun intended, shout out to Low, and then she can switch it and give you these upbeat I'ma talk my shit moments, like the opening track SOS. She's like, give me a second, give me a minute, nah little bitch, let me finish, or something like that. Smoking on my X-Pack. Low, for example, she said, keep it on the low ski, I'm the lowest of the lowest. I need you to get like, why can't I sing? Like, I really want to perform that for y'all right now. Conceited. She's talking about getting her body done, and like, she doesn't care what people have to say about it. She is the most confident in these songs while also being the most broken down. It's kind of impressive. She feels so hard. With most artists, I don't feel what they feel. I haven't experienced what she's experienced, but she conveys these songs and these lyrics so well that I feel 100% of her emotion, and I don't really do that with a lot of artists. Nobody gets me. Nobody gets me. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Aside from her lyricism being so versatile, the songs themselves are versatile. Smoky, almost like eerie vocals on Ghost in the Machine. And then you have a complete 180 with F2F, where you start out with this country little vibe, and it gets very like alternative rock. And she even plays with her vocals a little bit and animates them on Blind. She plays with every aspect of a song at any given moment, and I think it's so fun to listen to this album for that exact reason. Coming in at number 2, we have Emails I Can't Send by Sabrina Carpenter. Now, like I said when I revealed SZA being number 3, these are borderline interchangeable. One of the contributing factors to this album being at number 2 is simply time. I was able to sit with this album longer. I was able to listen to these songs over and over for a longer time. Like I said with Harry Styles' album being like the soundtrack to my life at one moment, the same thing happened with Emails I Can't Send. And quite literally, I could play this album over and over and over. And I'm not really that type of music listener. You have those people who can play an album and listen to it from start to finish, or you know, they just pick their favorite songs, and I'm that type of person. It's really rare for me to sit down, press play, and have listened from track 1 all the way to the closing track. I managed to do it so much with Emails I Can't Send because listening to this journey of her basically starting out highlighting how she acts the way she acts, and then getting to the very last track and her being able to come to an understanding of why she acts the way she acts, or why things the way they are. It's such a great story. You literally start with track 1. I'm not going to talk about each track because we got to get to album number 1, which I'll know what it is. But you start out with track 1. She's talking about her trauma of experiencing the ups and downs in relationships because of her father. So she's speaking from the perspective of a daughter, not necessarily girlfriend or a significant other. So this behavior is kind of like, I wouldn't say taught, but somewhat learned because it's what she experienced in her life. As you go through this album, there's so many back and forth moments. This is where she's unforgivingly upset with this person and she's letting them know. And then you have moments like tornado warnings, which yeah. She's like, right now I'm in therapy. Should I even tell this therapist about this person? No, I shouldn't. But I shouldn't be with this person in the first place, but I was with them. Maybe it might benefit me just to tell them that I was with this person. No, I can't. I'm not gonna do that. This person is in her mind, which she mentions in, what is it? Is it How Many Things? But the album is basically a constant struggle of backs and forths with this person. And I love how she finds a way at the end to finally understand that behavior and kind of like put a stop to it with Decode. She understands it all and she learned from it. Like that's like, she really knew what she was doing when she constructed this album. This album is a perfect story from start to finish. And mind you, I'm only talking about this album in a thematic standpoint. I haven't even talked about it sonically yet. Much like the last album at number 3, Emails I Can't Send is also a genre bending album, and she manages to have fun. She'll go from these like loud drums and cymbals, the whole groovy disco vibe of Read Your Mind, and then she'll take it all back and have this like weird siren with these, I don't even know what they're called. They're kind of like drummer boy drums in the back of tornado warnings already over, where it's this heaping amount of folkness, almost like a country thing. And then she'll give you skinny dipping. Skinny dipping is just skinny dipping. That's a whole different. Shannon's being Shannon and Shannon was Shannon. And then she'll even hop into her pop trap bag of nonsense. She makes every song fun. If you can give me great vocals, compelling lyrics, and then fun instrumentals, you've already sold me. And she did all those things to a 10. Here we are with album number 1. The best album of the year goes to Renaissance by Beyonce. That's how British people say Renaissance. This album is cocaine in the purest form. And I really mean that. This album is such a high. This is what Beyonce did. She said, Jay, watch the kids, I'm finna go in the studio. She walking into the studio. She got the mic in front of her. But before that, she goes, I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. Don't take that joke too seriously, because I will punch you. Anyways, we have Renaissance, a 16-track juggernaut of a dance album. Let's just start out by saying Beyonce actually is the true avatar, master of all genres. The way that this is a dance album, but these are not all dance songs in the sense of like genre dance. They're dance songs in the sense of like, get the f up and bust and move to these songs. That type of dance. The same way that I said it was a game with Taylor Swift to try to figure out like which albums influence those songs, I do the same thing with this, but I also try to figure out what these genres are, because she gives you so many genres in one body of work and still find a way to make that body of work transition from song to song to song. When it comes to genre bending and genre mastering, nobody is on her level. I don't think I've seen anybody do it to the degree that she's done it. So yeah, she gets the crown. She retires with the crown. She's blessed. Yes, I skipped a few lyrics there, but it's okay. For example, what is I'm That Girl? What genre is that? There's a bit of Afro beats, like once the beat kicks in. What is it altogether? What about the freaking on the weekend? I'm in this, let it begin. What genre is that? Cozy has the kind of like swingy beat to it, but I wouldn't consider that to be like house. Now, I wouldn't consider it to be EDM. Of course, you have songs like Energy. That's kind of easy. Break My Soul, somewhat easy. Virgo's Groove is easy. What about these other songs? The way that she gives you pop, R&B, the underground rave, disco, dance, trap, gospel in the same song. A trap beat with these gospel vocals, and then it's even more like gospel sample. And it works. She gives you electronic. She gives you Afro beats. Did I miss any? Like, it really is insane. What also makes this album feel good to listen to is that you know she did her homework. Researching so many queer artists and queer culture in general, and she was able to apply those things to the music while giving them credit, which people love to hate on. That's so weird to me. She's the type of artist where if you're in the room with her and you give out an idea, you most likely will be credited, even if your idea wasn't chosen. Somebody could have been like, hey, instead of making the lyric, I'm that girl, maybe you should try it being I'm that bitch. And Beyonce's like, I don't really like that. We're gonna stick with I'm that girl. That person's still gonna get credited even though those lyrics weren't chosen. She does her homework more than a lot of people. There's another artist who released a dance album this year. He didn't do his homework and it was poor. It was very poorly executed. I'm not gonna talk too long about this album because I will start crying if I talk about Beyonce too long. I can't do that. Y'all know how I feel about this album. I had a few soundtracks in my life, but this album is the soundtrack of my life. Mind you, this is her happiest album. Lemonade is a great album, constructed amazingly. It's not a happy album. She gets into like very deep issues and deep topics with that album, and she even got into deep issues and deep topics with Self-Titled, but none of her previous albums are considered like happy albums. B-Day might be the closest because it's very upbeat, but then you even have songs like Listen and Resentment. Renaissance does not have a sad moment. There's no time for you to sit down and think about sad things. All the way from I'm That Girl to Summer Renaissance, it's a happy dance album through and through. You need to be up moving and enjoying the music. Mentally, physically, spiritually, she wanted us to feel less isolated, and that could be isolated by quarantine or even just isolated by feeling alone. She wants to connect people through this album. Have y'all seen the Club Renaissance club parties that she's been having?
Club Renaissance. Club Renaissance in Atlanta. When you go to a Renaissance-themed party, Club Renaissance in London.
She had one, I believe, in Paris, and that was like the biggest event. Other celebrities were showing up to that one. Los Angeles recently had one. I even had one, but I wasn't able to go, so we're not going to talk about it. But the way that she's connecting people, and there are no visuals yet. This is just course number 1. Imagine when she repackages it, gives it to us again, but this time with an accompanying visual. Like, we're not ready. We're really not ready. Give it up for Renaissance, you guys. Clap for Renaissance, you guys. Give it up. This has been such an exciting, fun video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed recording it. These are my best albums of 2022. I'm sure that there are going to be some albums that you guys mentioned that I maybe didn't even listen to. So if you have some album recommendations, please comment them down below. Let me know which albums on this list were your favorite. Give me your own top 10 ranking if you want to down in the comments below. I also have a best songs of 2022 coming, so stay on the lookout for that. Follow me on my social medias right here and link down in the description below. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and then click that notification bell so you're always notified when I post more content. Thank you so much for watching. I love y'all, and I hope y'all had a great year. I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.